Godzilla and his species. Godzilla is a species of giant reptiles in the genus Titanus, which doesn't make sense since all the Titans have the scientific name Titanus, so they all have to be inside the same genus. He and his species are all diverse in both appearance and lore. He and his species should be classified in the genus Titanus because they were the original Titanus in my opinion. They are the only bipedal members of the family that I like to call Gojira Sword and Eye. As they mature, the species grows maple-like dorsals that store radiation. They are alpha titans who are, as of now, functionally extinct, meaning there is only one gender with no possible way of reproduction. The endling, known as Godzilla, may be the last of his kind, but it's possible that Godzilla and his species were not really that social. That's one reason why he didn't save Dagon. He probably did this intentionally, for radiation was scarce at the time, and leaving him alive meant more bodies to feed. Shimo is a large species of Titan, possibly the largest member of the Gojira and Eye family. Now, before we get into this, we have to explain Shimo is not a member of Godzilla's species, nor a subspecies. The definition of a subspecies is an organism that shares similar characteristics and is more closely related than a family, but less than a species. This also means that, for example, a subspecies could hybridize with another species that is closely related. For example, the genus Vulpes species is what foxes are in, while wolves are in the genus Canis. The two fill two entirely different niches and have different behaviors, appearances, diet, etc. But they are still related. Shimo is way too different in physiology, biology, appearance, and possibly diet to be either a subspecies or even in the same genus as Godzilla. Now that we have that out of the way, Shimo, just like Godzilla, have a psychic bond in our Alpha Titans. She has a cryokinetic blast of ice that is blasted through her mouth, which can make opponents so cold and frozen they can shatter like glass when impacted. Instead of her dorsals being made out of bone, they are crystalline in structure and have a crystal frill, possibly used for defense and combat. This frill is also used for headbutting, as she's seen headbutting other titans inside Hollow Earth. Yeah, I'm sorry, I just made that up. Although quadrupedal, she is also bipedal in stance when she rears up. It does this for intimidation from other titans, even dwarfing Ghidorah in height. This is possible anyways. I'd place Shimo on the genus Shimo and give her a scientific name, Shimo Kurokami, after a dragon I heard from Japanese mythology. A smaller species in this family is Doug. He was a descended offshoot of Godzilla's kind. They are opportunistic feeders, being able to eat when they have a chance to. Its rocky pebble-like skin helps camouflage it inside the rocky mountainous terrain. They are already showing signs of ADHD, as said by Goji Center, but do not back down from a fight or an attack. This is shown in Godzilla x Kong when a Doug fought Kong for food. Unlike its relatives, it has a prehensile tail. It uses it to grab and throw objects, as seen in Godzilla x Kong the Hunted, as it hurls a rock, only for it to fall back on its head. Dougs are truly a fascinating species to learn about, but not as fascinating as the next Titan. This Titan doesn't have a specific name. It's known as the Mega Gojira. They currently reside in Hollow Earth and have only been seen once inside of the temple of Kong's ancestors. It's unknown what it was, but it is a possible relative of Godzilla's species. However, it is way larger, possibly being around the size, if not exceeding the size of Shimo. However, I wouldn't really say that, even though I did, because his head is kind of slightly smaller than Shimo's. Some people estimate the Mega Gojira to be around 3 times Godzilla's height and size, making it really tall. However, I wouldn't really say it would be that big while standing up on 2 legs, because most people theorize the creature walked on 4 legs due to its massive weight. It needed to walk on 4 legs to sustain itself. It's unknown about the lore and history of these creatures, but they were probably used as how gladiators used lions inside of rings. The Kongs would fight these guys for fun, and maybe even killed them and took their weapons, which is the dorsals from their backs, for fun. Because it's too weird and mysterious for me, I'm not really gonna identify it as a species of a separate genus. However, due to some resemblances to Godzilla's own physiological build, including facial structure, I might place it inside of the genus Godzilla. It still wouldn't necessarily be a subspecies of Godzilla, but I'd still give this creature its own scientific name, being Gojira. Sorry, I messed up. It's gonna be called Titanus Gigante. You know, like Gigante, that's how you say giant in Spanish. Anyways, next one. This ancient titan is known as Dagon. It stands around 350 feet, just like Godzilla did. He is not known to be a separate species as Godzilla, but is currently identified as a species of Godzilla, being in the same species. So he is inside of the species Titanus Gojira. He was originally one of the few Godzillas that still existed before the Muto Prime killed them all, along with other Mutos. The Muto Prime had killed him and laid spores inside of his body, which would later hatch inside of 1999 and attack San Francisco in 2014. Dagon's body was left to rot and decay, but eventually was discovered by people. Dagon didn't really deserve what he did, but he still got it. That's nature, even inside of a fictional world of giant monsters. Not much is really known about Dagon's early life aside from the fact that he was a Godzilla, a member of Godzilla's species. However, the ancients did worship him as a god, named him Dagon, after the fish god from mythology, meaning that he's literally an idol to them. After killed off by the Muto Prime, no one had really seen him as a god or even cared about him anymore, as they forgot he existed. Jinshin Mushi won the fight. Next, Godzilla evolved. Yes, I know Godzilla evolved is just legendary Godzilla, the Godzilla we always known. But after absorbing the DNA of Tiamat, I like to consider him a separate species from the Godzilla we already know. Now being genetically different due to his genetics altering from Tiamat's DNA, along with himself literally evolving and changing his genetic code, Godzilla is now considered his own new species of Titan at the moment. And I like to see that because that's really cool. I'd like to consider Godzilla his own new species of Titan. Although he is still inside the same genus, I'd like to consider this a subspecies, the first true subspecies of Godzilla, that I like to call Titanus Gojira Tiamatus, a subspecies of Godzilla. Although having the DNA of Tiamat in it, it's basically part Tiamat as well. This Godzilla feeds on radiation just like his relatives did, but it has some physiological differences, including more jagged dorsals, elbow spikes, extra spikes growth around the chin, neck, mandible, jaw, and is growing a lot more leaner in build. Possibly a evolutionary adaptation to fighting Mega Godzilla, who is also agile, long arms, and skinny in build, even having a Thagomizer. Forgot what it was called for a second.